What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and the SBA must remove 4506T and low income requirements. It is Tuesday, July the 20th, 2021. Please do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, hashtag EIDL in the comments below, and make sure you follow me on Twitter at TrySmallBiz, where once again, Miss Isabel Guzman and I are duking it out because, as you may have seen last night, she is sticking to, despite losing another lawsuit to a restaurant chain, another lawsuit to the restaurant chain yesterday, they are sticking to the women, minorities, veterans, and we can't forget the tribal income, or should I say voting blocks, because they think, wrongly so, that it's going to help them win in 2022. So based on today's EIDL report, which was dated 3 days ago on July the 15th, the SBA has now spent $2.3 billion funding 284,000 small business owners, somewhere just over 200,000 for the $5,000 supplemental, for a total of $1 billion, which means they have $4 billion, or 80% of the supplemental $5 billion left over, and they still have 92% plus of the $10,000 targeted EIDL advance to spend. So ladies and gentlemen, pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, ice cold beer, glass of water. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will pin this in the top for you to peruse if you want to go through it. It looks to me like they funded a little over 10 to maybe 12,000 loans. So look, if it is true that 2 million people or thereabouts are looking for 24 months of working capital, and the SBA has funded somewhere in the vicinity of 65,000 loans in the last several months, there's no fucking way they're going to get through everyone by the end of this year when this program runs out. So, unless they outsource, or unless, in my recommendation, they get rid of the 4506T entirely, hire a hell of a lot more loan officers that actually have experience, this is going to spill over into 2022. And with respect to the $10,000 targeted EIDL advance, which I have been relentlessly telling Miss Guzman to do in the last several days, is she has to get rid of the low-income requirements. Folks, it's very simple. They sent out over 10 million emails twice. Some say 3 times. Somewhere between 2 million and 2.3 million now applicants have been submitted with respect to the $10,000 targeted EIDL advance, which does require that you live in a low income or you have a business there and you suffered a 30% economic loss. But out of 2 to 2.3 million applications, they've only funded through July 15th 284,000 for a total of $2.35 billion, which means the average grant size is still in and around $8,000. But the fact that this is going to be 6 months as of August the 1st since the applications went live, there is no way in hell, now that we know that they're advertising on radio, they're buying mailing lists to try to recruit low-income voters, this is going to backfire big time. So Chuck, I keep telling you the same fucking thing. When you go 6 months for the targeted EIDL advance and you only fund 284,000 out of over 2 million applications, and you still have 93%-ish of the money, the $30 billion that was allocated, you're going to lose big time next year, because if you're only helping 284,000 people and there's somewhere between 5 and 7 million that are already in the SBA EIDL queue, that is a factor of 25 times that are going to be pissed off. So if they don't go to the voting booths and pull the lever for red, they're just going to say, you know what? Ossoff and Warnock, my 2 senators here in Georgia, they didn't do a fucking thing. I challenge any one of you watching me right now, go to both of their pages on Twitter. Do you see anything about EIDL? Do you see any senator, in fact, in this country that's standing up for the middle income communities, which, by the way, has millions of women, minorities, tribal, and our great veterans who we love and admire so much? They have worked hard, in many cases, to get themselves and their families out of generational poverty. And because they happen to reside, with respect to their business, in a middle, or dare I even say a high-income community, they have been given, through the permission of the federal government, a big fuck you from the SBA. So Miss Isabel Guzman, I promised myself I was going to try to keep the F-bombs to a minimum. I think I've already cranked out at least 4 or 5. So I'll try to tone it down for just a second. You lost another lawsuit yesterday to another restaurant You have not won a single case, not one case, Ms. Guzman, in the last several months. You're losing based on discrimination to white guys, Asian business owners, strip clubs, you name it. And I'm telling you right now, just like the lawyers that I shared in a video about 3 weeks ago, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when that someone steps up to the plate. And in my prediction, it's going to be multiple law firms in the next 30 to 45 days. They're going to say, you know what, we're going to take a shot. It's much easier to win a discrimination lawsuit based on the color of your skin, i.e. a white guy that's being denied the restaurant money that he was promised. And yes, for the 10th time, at least in the last 2 days, I think it's fucking bullshit that 3,000 minorities, women, veterans, and tribals that happen to own a restaurant, or dare I say a live venue grant, either are not getting funded or had the money rescinded and clawed back because the SBA is in the business of class warfare. So I digress. Miss Isabel Guzman, you have funded 284,000 people out of between 2 and 2.3 million applications. You still have 93% of the money that Congress appropriated to you almost 6 months ago. There's no way in hell, even though you're trying to buy votes by mailing people and advertising with taxpayer dollars to bring in low-income voters, you're never going to get through, as I've said a million times now. You're not going to spend more than $5 billion, which is more than double of what you've already spent through almost 6 months. You're going to have at least $25 billion. So, are the rumors true or are they not? Just come out and tell us. Either put a bullet in us or tell us, hey, you've got reason to hope you need to hang on for another 2 or 3 weeks. We want an answer. It's very simple. When are you going to get rid of the 4506T because you've only funded 65,000 or thereabouts small business owners out of upwards of 2 million? There's no way. At that pace, as I've been saying now for weeks, if not months, it's going to take 3 or 4 years for them to get to all that money. There's $258 billion left. They've funded, I think, $222 billion based on the last report that'll pin in the top. They've got more than enough money to pay everyone, regardless of where you live or the color of your skin. So Miss Isabel Guzman, Jackie Rosen, and John Cornyn, who have not said a single fucking word about your own reintroduction of S513, what say you? How do you sleep at night knowing we have millions of people, 5 to 7 million, 25 times the number that you've helped, 284,000 in low-income communities? How the fuck can any one of you look in the mirror and say, you know what? We're not going to fund millions of veterans, women, minorities, tribals, and dare I say white fucking guys that happen to look like me. No, we're just going to sit on the money, or even better, we're going to send it back. Now that Chuck Schumer announced that he's working on the first and final draft of the infrastructure bill, no, we're going to claw it back. Won't that be something special? Won't that be something special, ladies and gentlemen? We're in this fight now together as a family for 16 months. And despite having over $250 billion, they decide to claw it back so they can give out pork projects so they can buy more money, more power, and votes for 2022. That right there just makes me fucking sick. But let me finish on a slightly optimistic note. There's no doubt in my mind, if you are a low-income community member, and you've suffered a 30 to 50% loss, you will get eventually upwards of $15,000. If you're a legitimate small business owner, sole prop, side hustler, you've got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, there's no doubt in my mind you're eventually going to get 24 months of working capital. Even if you have to go through 3 reconsiderations like I did, and as some are starting to say, it looks like the recons department, PDC recons at SBA.gov, is even better than the current fiasco they have right now with the loan officers, because it's obvious that the shift from the the Office of Disaster Assistance, over to the PPP group is not going so well. They're slowing down. This is half the pace of when they were starting to speed up before the transfer took place 2 weeks ago. So it's a fucking mess. What's new, right? It's total chaos. It's massive amounts of turnover. They're still hanging on to the $2 million cap rule, which is supposed to be released right now. And Miss Isabel Guzman, one more time, please, in under 10 minutes. Get rid of the 4506T and the low income requirements. Give everyone in low, middle, high a chance at 10, maybe even $15,000. And yes, 24 months of working capital. So by this time next year, Mr. Big Ben fucking Cardin and I can work together to make sure that you never pay the SBA a single dime. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, I love each and every one of you, and thank you so much for watching.